have opportunities to win it. Couldn't ask for anything more. Unfortunately, we didn't come away with the victory. So I got to give them a lot of credit. A well-coached football team, a lot of really good players. Congratulations to them on winning the Axe, and open up for questions.
All right, first question tonight will go to Daniel House. Start us off, Daniel.
Hey, PJ, I know it didn't go how you wanted it to tonight, but the 2020 Big Ten season comes to a close. As you look back, what did you learn about this team?
Everything affects everything. This team has incredible courage. They're incredibly loyal to each other. They're loyal to the University of Minnesota. They're loyal to change. And they're just incredible human beings. I mean, to do what they have done and to go through what they have done, from last week to the courage they showed today and the fight they showed. There's no moral victories in this, but I'm watching our team as people, not just football players. Were there mistakes made? Yes. Could we have played better? Yes. Could Wisconsin have probably played better? Absolutely. That's what we're going to find out. But I thought our team handled change well. They were able to adapt to it. They were able to find a way to be able to grow from it, and they never quit, never gave up. They handled everything that we gave them in stride, and they got better every single day. That's all you can ask. They gave us everything they got, but a very courageous football team.
Next, we will go over to Meg Ryan.
Hi, PJ. I'm curious to know what what your message was to the team after the game and the mood in the locker room, but I guess maybe also specifically, I noticed when Anders came off the field after he missed the kick in overtime, you kind of pulled him aside and said something, and I was wondering if you would share that.
Yeah, these are your children. I don't mean it from like they're 6-year-olds. I mean, these are your children. I mean, I see these guys more than I see my own children. These student athletes are really, really important to the process of what we do. They're everything that our program's about. And we wouldn't have been in a position in Nebraska to win that game without Anders. Anders, our third string kicker, came in, has been unbelievable. He missed one. I mean, he's made a lot of them. And I just told him, I said, listen, we're going to get this thing somehow, some way to the second overtime. You're going to come back and win it. I said, get a smile on your face, change your best, respond. That's it. Told him I love him. That's all. I mean, that's what education's about. I mean, these are young people. They could have very well went the other way. So that's what I told him. Obviously, a devastated locker room, very disappointed, sad, but not pouty. Nope, just sad that they didn't win. And I after a hard-fought rivalry loss like that, when you walk into that locker room, that's I'm not saying that's what you want to see, but people care. And this one means a lot. And I think everybody knows that. But I told him, this is the only year I've ever done this, Megan. I think you might have asked me this all the way back in maybe August or July. This is the first year I've ever talked about 2 years at once, because it's impossible not to. I mean, you got 30 kids out, and then they're out 3 weeks, and you're talking about one final game they get to play in or two or whatever it is. And you better give them hope for the future, especially with all these people going certain places, transferring, leaving, going here, going there. They better know you're going to be a really good football team next year. And I think we're going to be a really good football team next year. I mean, you look at what we have coming back, you look at, and hopefully we don't have, COVID-20, whatever it is, but hopefully that, we get this thing under control and safely and can have some type of normalcy come spring and then get into a season. Cause I think we can be a really good football team. I mean, you watch guys today, Chris Bell goes down, and Michael Brown-Stevens. I mean, there's a freshman, Daniel Jackson, another freshman, Trey Potts, another freshman, Cam Wiley, another freshman. I mean, we have freshmen all over the field. Now we got to play better, but it was really hard this year. I probably for a lot of teams. And I think it said on the Big Ten championship today, Northwestern was the only team that didn't have any positives or something like that. Well, that's good. There's a reason why they're in the Big Ten championship. I mean, that helps. I mean, it's not like anybody did something wrong. It's just it helps. Some people were able to not have it affect their team as much as others. When you have 30-some kids out of your football team at some point, that affects things. It affects rhythm. It affects a camaraderie. It affects togetherness. It affects all that. So not an excuse. It just is what it is. That's why this year is very odd. And you can see it all over the country. But I told our team that I love them. I'm proud of them. Disappointed. Take the losing as learning. And then we're going to be really good when we come back in January. If this is our last game this year, we're going to be really good when we come back. But be ready to be good when we come back. Have that mindset. Let this sting as long as it needs to sting. And And it's okay to hurt. It's okay to go through grief, but we will not pout. Big difference between going through grief and pouting. There is no pout. They beat us. They're a really good football team and they beat us. We had our opportunities. We didn't make them.
Chip Scoggins, over to you now.
Yeah, PJ, along those lines about the opportunities, did it just feel like missed opportunities where you have a touchdown call back by penalty, interception, a drop in the end zone? Just seemed like you guys had spurts where you played well, but just couldn't finish or sustain.
Well, we scored on the one that we dropped in the end zone. With Trey, we scored on that drive. When you go back and look at the hold, again, you can't do it. It brings back a touchdown, next play, interception. But Chip, even if, let's say that we don't score, that touchdown gets called back, let's say we kick a field goal. I'm just giving you hypothetical things. And maybe I don't go for it on the 4th and 5 because maybe I kick a field goal to make it a 1-point game, so a field goal wins it in a 4th and 5. Everything changes when things like that happen. But we had plenty of opportunities. The good thing you can say, Chip, is you can point out 2-3 plays. For the most part, though, I thought our team played. They executed well. We played hard. They played up to their capability. They fought, they scrapped. Both teams. It was a great football game. Or sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. That's why it's a rivalry game. We were 2 touchdown underdogs, and these kids, you would never believe that with these players. And we had plenty of opportunities though, and didn't make them happen. But it all comes down to we got it to overtime. It was 17-17, went to overtime. They executed, we didn't, and that's football, and that's unfortunate. I said to Anders afterwards, just like I told Meg, listen, I love you, I'm proud of you. You're going to find a way to come win this again. It's our 3rd string kicker. Well, we started this whole year without a punter, kicker, or a kickoff guy. Remember that back in Michigan? We had 32 players out last week, 33 players out last week. And for weeks, canceled games. These aren't excuses. This is just COVID. And you look at that team fight like they did for the Paul Bunyan Axe. There's no moral victories, but there's a lot to build on. There's a lot of young players who got a ton of experience. Had a great recruiting class. Next year looks really, really good. And I told our team that. I said, I think we'd be a really good football team next year. Thanks for the
Reader. Over to you, please.
PJ, you kind of alluded to it, but how have we gotten to a place with a 3rd string kicker here? Was it just COVID? What other issues were there? And then kind of looking forward, you talk about a good football team, but special teams has been an issue consistently. What needs to happen there?
We got to be able to execute. First of all, yes, the kicking game was COVID related. Then it was injury related. So there was multiple things, and we knew that going into this, especially with the lack of training that you have in the off season. We knew that injuries would be a part of it. Now, when you look at our injury report, looks like I'm an average year, but you add a COVID on top of that, and then it becomes a little bit different than most. But, we got better, just because we missed a field goal tonight doesn't make our special teams bad. They missed a field goal too. Things happen. But again, everything, no matter what, always gets evaluated and gets reevaluated as you continue to move forward. It always does. And we've got to be better. We missed an extra point in overtime to beat Maryland. But again, that wasn't the reason we lost the game. Who knows what happens in the next overtime? That doesn't mean we lost the game because of that play. We had plenty of opportunities with a 17-point lead to win the game. Okay, so it goes offense, defense, and special teams. You look at how many people on our special teams are playing for the first time. So again, we've got to be tons of guys. Andy, the good thing is a lot of people on this football team this year got a ton of experience. And that's what we lack going into this year, especially early, but we all got it. And that's why I said, I hope that, as we get into next year, our guys know how good we can be.
Next, we will go to Ryan Burns.
Hey, PJ, how would you assess Tanner Morgan's day today?
I think, I'm not going to sit there and say it was his best performance, but wasn't his worst performance. I think, he led the football team really well. There were some throws that were tipped and knocked down. I thought he had a huge 4th down run. I thought he played tough, thought he played scrappy. And again, there's a lot of things outside of our control that we have to be able to adjust to on the fly. But again, there's maybe 2-3 plays you'd like to be able to see back with whether taking a sack, throwing the ball away, or a position of where a ball was placed. But we'll always evaluate that. It's hard necessarily just to look at on the field and see what went wrong, what broke down, whose fault that was. But it all definitely comes down to me. It comes back to me. But, he's tough. He's gritty. He's courageous. And, we just didn't play well enough as a team for us to win.
Dave Campbell, over to you now.
PJ, I'm just wondering, like with the eligibility sort of up in the air thing with this whole season, like are there players that you know for sure that this was their last game if there's no bowl game, like, or are you still going to have to sort out all the who's coming back and who's not thing over the next couple of months?
Yeah, I think you're definitely going to sort it out. I think that's, I had discussions with every single one of our players that were upperclassmen prior to the season based on the eligibility being free this year, right? So we had conversations. I have an idea of who was coming back and who's not, how as you go through the year and what happens, how that changes, what that looks like, that'll kind of take place probably over the next 4 or 5 weeks. And then we'll evaluate that as we keep going forward and make the necessary changes we have to. Support the players every way we possibly can as they make decisions that are good for them and best for them. And we'll always do that. And then make the best decisions we can for the University of Minnesota.
Next, we will go back to Meg Ryan.
PJ, kind of speaking of decisions maybe that you might have to make. I know you said earlier this week, the bowl game, there's no eligibility for it. So who knows if you guys will make it or not. If you were to make it, or I don't know, even if preemptively, like, are you guys going to accept an invitation if you get one, or is that something that you still need to decide if you would take the bowl game if it came your way?
I think that's the $1 million question right now, Meg, right? First and foremost, I know this, our team, Mark Coyle, myself, we will discuss that all together. I think that's something that's a team decision. Not only that, I just want to give some perspective on the outside of both sides of this, right? Because I think people need to know that. One, I think every football player wants to play. Everybody wants to compete. Everybody wants to go to a bowl game. Everybody wants to do that. I mean, everybody wants to do that. We want to do that, right? I think you got to look at a lot of different factors in that. Right? We're talking about when does it happen? What time of day does that is? Look, our whole state is shut down, everyone. Okay, so you all have children. Okay, so let's say that your children is away at school, everything's shut down, can't go anywhere. And the thought of your son in Christmas morning having a boxed lunch sitting in their room because they can't go anywhere. That's Christmas. Now, coaches, maybe we can have because you can't have anything together because you can have gatherings more than somebody else. So you can't have this big team dinner. You can't have this big team Christmas, this big holiday, whatever you celebrate. You can't have that. So it's got to be based on boxes. School's done, nothing to do, nowhere to go. And think about if that's your son, if that's what's best for your family. I'm not here to make that decision. But because again, coaches, listen, in the morning, you wake up, you can have Christmas at any time or a holiday at any time. This is about the kids. This is all about the players. And they're going to be part of the major decision-making process in this. But there's ways to think of that. There's certain states that aren't closed. So it might be better for other teams to sit there and say, yeah, we'll go to a bowl game because we can entertain our players throughout and have some type of normalcy, at least on campus leading up to that game. Now, you're talking maybe 11 days of doing what? Sitting there, doing nothing? Like doing nothing besides football in a short amount of time and hours that we're allowed. And then also have boxed lunches, boxed breakfasts, boxed dinners, and that's gonna be memorable. This isn't about playing football. Like nobody doesn't want to play football. We want to play football. We want to play bowl game. But there's a lot of other factors that come into play here. And again, different states, different conferences, where you are in the country, what are your state laws? That all comes into play because we're talking about young people's mental health, emotional health, and physical health in a time like this. Whether we won that game or lost that game, I'd say the exact same thing. Because we've talked about that the entire year. We'll make the decision that is best for our football team, period. Right? Might not be the same as others. People might not understand that. I just gave a little bit of a dive into maybe some information like based on what that would look like or a perspective. But we've got people with moms in the hospital and dads in the hospital and cousins and aunts and people passing away and grandmothers. And there's a lot that goes into this. This isn't about just playing a game. You show up, you sleep, you play the game, you come home. And that's the bowl experience. Not only that, if your state's closed, again, what are you going to do? And then as a parent, you can't come visit them, and then they can't go home. They can't go home in between then. There's a lot of COVID rules and tests and opt-outs and things you got to be able to do and rules that you have to follow when you leave. So again, I'm not sure, Meg, but we'll make a decision as a football team We'd be honored if people look at us as a bowl team. But again, we're not making those decisions. But we'll make the best decision for our football team moving forward. But just want to give some people a little dive in of what everybody's been through.
All right, last two questions. We'll go to Andy Grader and Paul Hodowanek. Andy, start us off, please.
What when you look at the time off here that you guys will have post bowl game, if you guys do decide to do that, how do you view kind of the major areas of improvement that you want to see?
Well, it's hard when you don't have your whole football team the entire year, right? I mean, we're going to do a whole, recap of our entire season here coming up, but we've got to be more consistent. We've got to be more fluid on offense. We're going to be better on defense. I think what you saw, we're better on defense than we were at the beginning of the year. That's what you want to see as a coach, and everybody's back, right? Not only that, you're going to add more people, right? And I said before that our defense was going to really be hurt by not having training camp and not having spring ball. I've said that very publicly. It's not like I said that now. Okay, that was very public prior. And one thing I'll do, I'll let you know where we're at. And we were going to be very youthful, but we grew up. There's a lot of young players who are going to be on that field for a long time coming up. So that's exciting. But we've got to be, I can give you a whole list of things, Andy. I mean, we're better tacklers and we got to be more aggressive on defense. We got to master our system more. We've got to be way better in our fundamentals, techniques. But I think as we continue to grow holistically as a football team, as we keep thinking about this vision of us being champions one day, everything's done at a championship standard, no matter what it is, whether that's fundamentals, technique, execution, right? Belief, academics, social life, everything. So we're going to keep moving forward. The program's in, right? The culture's set. And now we just got to keep making that better and making strides for that. But to tell you, like every single integral part before I evaluate the entire season, you just go from one game to the next and then you self-scout and then you go to one game next and self-scout, one game to the next and self-scout. This needs to be, a while of adapting what we're needing to be able to do. And personnel is really hard this year because, you're filling holes instead of really growing and getting so much better. With the same personnel, you're just getting the personnel to be able to, fill the holes of the boat, and plug them up real quick, even before games. So I'll have a little bit more of an answer for you as we continue to go through the year, but just more consistent in every area and be way more efficient on all sides of the ball.
Paul, over to you for the last one.
PJ, what'd you just think of Mo's performance today? 8th game over 100 yards in a row, 1,000 yards on the season now, and just to do that against Wisconsin's rush defense, who's number 1 in the country.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I thought the game plan was great. We just didn't execute 3 or 4 plays, and it's unfortunate because it all sets up each other. You know what I mean? And especially when you're going to keep it on the ground, you're going to ground and pound. Both teams have that philosophy. I mean, they both believe in their running game, right? And I thought Mo did a great job of that. I thought Mo carried the load for us today, still beat up and banged up a little bit, fought through that. We got to have the young guys be able to continue to get better in the offseason. Cam Wiley and Trey Potts, those guys are going to bring a ton of experience back next year. I mean, the things that they did this year is priceless. But I thought Mo did what Mo does. I thought our offensive line did a great job of doing what they do. Was it enough tonight? No. But their courage and their fight and their strength and their willingness to be the best they possibly could was all there. I mean, all of it there. And that's why I'm so proud of them, because wasn't like there was a lack of effort anywhere. I mean, they played their hearts out, including Mo. I mean, Mo put everybody on his shoulders and I thought he played like he normally does.
Coach, thank you for your time.
Thanks, everybody. Roll the boat, Scotty Mile, go Gophers. Thank you.
And we'll move over to the players here in just a few moments. Thank you, everyone.
All right, Sully, Tanner Morgan's here, so start when he takes a seat.
All right, we will get right into questions for Tanner. Message me if you'd like to ask Tanner a question, and we will begin today with Paul Hodowanek. Start us off, Paul.
Hey, Tanner, what did you, was it just like a misread on the interception that you threw in the end zone? Did you not see the second guy, or can you take me through that play and how it kind of went down from your view?
Yeah, I mean, it's on me. Just got to eat it or throw it into second window, but it's my fault. And it was a critical error that can't happen in the game. It's my fault. I either have to just eat that or let him clear on to the next window.
Next, we will go to Daniel House.
Hey, Tanner, you had some success tonight off the mesh wheel to Cam. What did you see on that specific play?
It was a great play call. Cam was nude, wide open. I mean, he made a great catch with the safety coming over the top, being physical, and then getting in the end zone.
Andy Greeter, over to you for the next one.
Given the difficulty of this loss, how do you try to lead the team out of it?
Yeah, we just keep our oar in the water and we keep rowing. Obviously, this game means a lot to us, but we know what we're building for the future. We got a lot of good guys, a lot of elite guys inside of our locker room and on our coaching staff. So we're just going to keep rowing and keep responding. That's what we do.
Next, we'll go to Meg Ryan.
Hi, Tanner. PJ said that in the locker room after the game, what he noticed was a lot of sadness and disappointment from the players, but not any pouting. And I guess I was wondering from you, do you agree with that? And I guess what is the difference there? Like, how do you kind of describe the mood in the locker room and kind of the difference between being sad that you didn't win a game to pouting about it, I guess.
Yeah, I 100% agree with Coach. Obviously, we're heartbroken. This game means a lot to us. Winning the Axe means a lot to us. And we're not pouting. We know that we're just going to keep our oars in the water, keep rowing, no matter what happens, no matter the situation, no matter the circumstance. We're just going to keep fighting, keep rowing. That's what we do. That's what our culture's about. And, you can see that inside of our guys in the locker room.
Paul, back to you for the next one.
What did you see? Obviously, Chris went down partway through that game, and then Daniel Jackson was able to make some plays. Mike was able to make some plays. Just from those younger guys, what were you seeing from them?
Yeah, guys that stepped up when the number was called and went made plays. Daniel made plays tonight. Michael Brown made plays. His number was called. Did some really good things when he got the ball in his hands. So those guys are always ready. That's a tribute to how they prepare. They're always ready to get after it, and really proud of the way those guys played tonight.
Meg, back to you.
Tanner, I know the decision is kind of yet to be made about a bowl game, but PJ shared a little bit of, what life would be like for you guys if you were to get an invite and what that would be. I guess I'm curious from your perspective, like, how do you feel about potentially playing a bowl game? Is that something that you would want to do or be interested in doing? Or is this kind of something where, 2020, it's been a rough year and maybe it's best to just move on and look to the future?
Really trust our administration with that. Our athletic director, Mark Coyle, has shown time and time again that he's going to do what's right for us throughout this pandemic and before that. So we trust our administration, we trust our coaching staff, so we're ready for whatever happens. But again, we really trust the people that run this organization, that run this program, because we know that they have our best interests at heart and that they truly do love us and make decisions based on that.
I will wait a couple moments here just to see if there are any last question requests for Tanner. Paul, take us home. You can have the last one.
Just when the offense was struggling there, in the second quarter, in the first half, Mo was able to get going a lot. What does that kind of do for you in the passing game when maybe things aren't going great, but you can rely on Mo for a while until maybe the offense can figure some things out and take it home from there? Yeah,
I mean, Mo's a warrior. And it's a tribute to our offensive line, our tight ends, the way they block, and how Mo runs football, how our running backs run the football. And obviously it's a big part of our offense. And those guys do a really elite job. And, they fight. That's all they do. They fight, play with extreme house. So that's a tribute to that. And it definitely opens things up for the offense as well.
All right, Tanner, thank you for your time.
Yes.
We have Boye Mafe coming up next. Once he takes a seat, we'll go ahead and jump into questions. So thank you.
All right, like Paul said, we will get right into questions for Boye. So if you'd like to ask a question, please message me in the chat. We'll get started. Meg Ryan, start us off, please. Thank you.
Hi, Boye.
How are you doing?
Hey, Matt, I'm good. With how the game ended, it was so close. It was so close all game. And to have it kind of end in that, just overtime, and it was so, I don't know, it was just so tight the whole time. I guess I'm just kind of curious, what was your kind of immediate feeling when you saw that field goal go in, and then kind of as you were going throughout the post game, going back into the locker room, what were you sensing from your teammates?
I mean, it definitely hurts. I mean, at close games like this, especially in rivalries like this with teams, Wisconsin, we have the Axe, we have trophies that we play for, and those type of things are, hold meaning to you. And being from Minnesota and knowing how much this game means to me and my teammates and people who I play with, it hurts. It hurts a lot. And it's something that you can't sit there and, this is a lot of things that this is the point where teams can either point the finger and say, oh, this is what happened, or only if that. But we didn't do that. As a team, we took it as it is. And it's something that we basically, it's a learning period. This is something that you can always learn from, and something you can take notes of and figure out what you can do better at every time. And there's no situation of pointing fingers on our team. We don't do that here. We take what we have, what happens to us, and we have a response mechanism for everything. So for sit here and, we are sad, it hurts the team, and it's something that it hurts. When the situation that it was, there's no easier way around it.
Next, we will go to Daniel House.
Hey, Boye, Wisconsin finished 4 for 12 on third down tonight. How critical were the stunts and blitzes that you guys used on that down?
The stunts we used were very, very critical to, show him different things, make sure he didn't know where the pressure was coming from, make sure he didn't understand what we were doing, trying to do. They came out with a lot of different things, especially, they were heavier to my side or to, the end side. They were wanting to make sure there wasn't an edge rush today. And they found a way to either chip or use the tight ends, move them around and make sure that there wasn't clean rushes from the edge. And that's what they came with the game plan of doing, and making sure that the quarterback had at least some time to throw the ball and that they wouldn't get pressures overall on the quarterback.
I'm just waiting to see any additional questions roll in for Boye. Meg Ryan, back to you, please.
Boye, I know it's a little undetermined right now with the bowl eligibility. Who knows, if you guys will get an invitation or if you'll accept it if you do get one. But, if this should be the last game for this year, what's your overall, and I know it just ended, but kind of what is your overall reaction of this year and what you saw from this team and kind of what it all means heading into 2021?
I saw a lot of things from this team. We had a struggle in the beginning of the year. We were letting up a lot of yards in the running defense, and definitely throughout the year, it comes to a point where we had that point where teams can decide to fold and let it be what it is and just say, this is what we're going to have to take. So, I see that our defense took that point and we said no. And we took it, and we took a step in the right direction. In these last two games, we didn't get the result we wanted in this game, but I definitely see the potential in this defense. And I believe in this defense since day one. And our coaches believe in us, and I feel like as if we're going to be a team that has a great, great improvement next year. And I can definitely see that the potential. I'm not worried about our defense. I'm not worried about the guys left and the right of me. I definitely see there's a potential in our defense, the potential to propel into the future. And we're going to be a very scary defense moving next year.
Last two questions will go to Daniel House and Dave Campbell. Daniel, start us off, please.
Boye, Coach talked about the growth that he saw from the defense over the past couple of games and how that was encouraging. Where do you think you guys improved the most over the past couple of weeks here?
Over the past couple of weeks, especially when we had the time off of Corona, we took a good deep look at ourselves and decided to self-scout ourselves and to look at what we needed to fix. So doing that really helped us, and we figured out that, one of our struggling points was our run defense. Our run defense wasn't the best. We weren't really stopping the run. We were getting a lot of third and short situations, and we were breaking out of explosive plays through the run. So we had to take that into account and figure out what to do. And I say as a team, we took that step that, like I said before, there's a point in the team and the period of the season where we had to decide, make a decision, whether we fold and let the season be what it is, or to change our best and work and make a new change for the defense. And we made that change. And I definitely seen it through everybody. Everybody stepped up and everybody had that hunger. And that's the thing I love about this team. And that's why I see our potential of our future so bright, is the fact that nobody quits. This defense doesn't quit no matter what situation we are, no matter what the score says, no matter where we are at, this defense will not quit. And that's why I believe moving forward and moving on, I just can't wait.
And Dave, over to you for the last one.
Boye, just wondering, you talk about all the sort of benefit this season will hold moving into next year. Do you think there's any, and I know it's maybe the wrong time to even ask the question, having just lost the rivalry game, but do you think there's any sense of relief too from guys, like all the protocols you had to go through, and just maybe how much work it took to just get 7 games in this year?
As a sense of relief, we always want to play. Being with each other 24/7, spending the time we do with each other when we're allowed to. I like to be around these guys no matter what, even if it's just film, if it's just us in the locker room just hanging out. It's not a time of I just hate to be around them. There's never that chance. I always love to be around my teammates, around to be in the building. And the fact is, as a relief standpoint, I don't really see a relief standpoint. I see an excitement standpoint of moving forward, and I see an excitement standpoint for the team. I feel as if the level of seeing what our potential is, and I feel that's a lot of things that can say is that the potential was definitely shown. And when you see some potential like that, that's something that just gets you excited to, get ready to come back when we come and just play.
Boye, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody.
Everyone else, thank you for your time. Have a great rest of your weekend.